everyone. It's Turnerfan77 and my partner in crime, David. How you doing, David?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Well, we're here for issue 6 of Comic Talk. In this issue, we're going to be talking about The Walking Dead. Oh, you lit up, man.
I lit up. See how I lit
angelic.
up when Walking Dead? I was just like, ha.
You were very angelic. We're going to be talking the first 6 issues of The Walking Dead. Now, everybody knows the TV show. It blew up like big time when AMC put it on its station. But it was a very successful comic way before it became a TV show. And this is what we're talking about. We're going to go into the little differences between the TV show and the comic. So, so give me your initial thoughts, David, on this book.
Oh, man, I loved it.
I was afraid you weren't going to.
No, I really enjoyed it. And in fact, I read it twice.
Oh,
and, well, I'm almost through with the second reading. So,
nice.
but yeah, I read it through and I was like, oh, man. And then read it again. And it really brought back the memories of when the series first started.
Yeah.
Because at least in the beginning, the series was an awful lot like the comic book. There's a few differences, you know, that everybody who's anybody watches the series and reads the comic book knows what those differences are. But as far as the storyline goes and kind of how everything went, it all was familiar to me. So it was really cool to just read it and go through the stuff. So yeah, I liked it.
Okay. You don't like black and white movies, right?
No.
Okay. This is what I was worried about. You reading a black and white comic, how that was going to work for you.
Yeah. Didn't bother me a bit. I didn't have any problem this being in black and white, aside from, the splashes of blood here and there. But yeah, no, didn't have a problem with that at all.
Okay, good. Hold on here. I'm sorry. Okay. So you love the first volume. Will you pick up the second volume?
Yeah, I'd read the second volume.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that, man, because
it
gets better and better and better. It's, for me, each volume just continues to build on top of each other, and they just keep going. And I know there's spots in the TV show where people dropped off. I mean, I get it why they did, okay? Because a lot of people wanted the zombies, but it's all about character building.
Yeah.
Zombies are just like second tier problems.
Exactly. The zombies are walkers, as they put it, because there's no word for zombies here.
Yeah. I like how they do that.
I like how they do that too, because that means there's never been a zombie movie.
Yeah.
They don't know how to deal with this. And I think that's a really cool premise, to where, and it's a really simple way to tell for them to go, okay, we don't know how to deal with this because there's no word for it. Just like women talking.
That was,
So I, just kind of lit another light bulb went off, and I was like, oh yeah, women talking, because they didn't have a word for what they were experiencing either.
Yeah.
But yeah, the zombies or the walkers in here, they're really background. It's more like they're just an element of a post-apocalyptic world. Yeah. And it's all about the characters surviving in this world. And the zombies that are involved are just, they're just background. They're just something they have to deal with as a part of their normal lives now.
And the real monsters are the people, not the zombies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Because you don't really see it in the first volume, but again, if you're familiar with the TV show, you see genuine monsters come to these people and the stuff they have to deal with. So I think the zombies are not as bad as what they have to deal with. So Walking Dead came out in 2012. Let me look. Yeah, 2012. 2012, written by Robert Kirkman. And the first trade was drawn by Tony Moore.
Tony Moore.
Yeah, Tony Moore. They had a falling out. Robert Kirkman and Tony Moore had a falling out. And he added Charlie Adlard. I think that's how you pronounce it. He finished from issue 7 to the end. Whatever. I think it was issue 160.
Okay.
where it ended. But yeah, so we're just gonna jump into this. We're gonna make this a nice tight episode. So for plot, what would you give this?
Okay. So for plot, I gave this a 10. Um, Absolutely my favorite thing about this is the plot and underlying story of what's going on and how it starts to come about.
Yeah.
Um, this is one of my favorite parts about this comic, about this part is just the underlying storyline, the synopsis of what's going on. And if you know, you know. But
I
it
think we could talk spoilers because this book's been out and the show's been out. I think everybody and their dog knows the story of The Walking Dead. I think we're okay to talk spoilers for the first 6 issues.
okay. I'm
Uh,
I'm down for that. So basically, yeah. So basically, Rick wakes up from a coma in a world he has no idea because he went down, he was
he got
shot,
shot.
he got shot, he went down, he was put in a coma, and everything was normal. When he gets out, hospital's gone. All these, it's laid to waste. There's walkers everywhere. He's trying to figure out what the heck's going on. And all he wants to do is find his wife and kid.
Yeah, that's the
That's
only thing he cares
that,
about is
that's
finding
the only thing he
Lori
cares
and Rick,
about.
or
He's
Lori and
completely, yeah, he's completely driven.
yeah,
So basically, he's waking up in a world he doesn't understand. At the same time, we're opening these pages to a world we don't understand.
yeah. And at the time when
So
this came out, there wasn't zombie comics. There hadn't been zombie comics since the 60s and 70s, really. So this was, I won't say brand new, but to a new generation, it was brand new.
yeah,
Because back in the 60s, 70s, whatever year it was, the government came after comic books and took those horror comics away. So this was a reintroduction to horror comics, in my opinion.
yeah,
Okay, you said something about um, Rick going on that journey. And
yeah,
he's driven to find his wife and kid.
yeah.
There's just one line after he finds them. He's sitting down with Lori, and
Mhm.
the art expresses it really well. He says, "I've been so driven," or I forget the line where he says, "I've been trying to find you. I didn't have time to be scared."
Yeah,
And you're like, "That? Oh, I love that panel. It is
yeah.
so." Let me see if I can find it.
I was just about to look for it myself.
Uh, they're in the camp. He just finds them.
Yeah, because he randomly runs into Glenn
Yeah.
and is like, you know, holy crap, I'm just looking for my wife and son. And he's like, hey, why don't you come with me? Oh, and then of course, he meets Morgan in the
Oh
beginning.
yeah, I forgot about
I,
Morgan.
I really like that. Morgan and his son, and that,
Me too.
that kind of brings back the series for me.
Okay, now my question: Do you hear the actors' voices when you read?
Oh yeah.
Me too.
Oh yeah. I'm playing that. I play that in my head.
Yeah,
Um,
I can't
I mean,
find it.
and if you think about it, this is a lot like storyboards when they're actually doing
Yeah,
a movie, is they do it like
yeah,
this first. Um,
yep. Right here. He goes, "The first 2 days, I've been worried about finding you and Carl, and getting here in one piece. I haven't had the time to be scared. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it? Oh shit! Hold on. Oh,
is that the wrong page, or is that?
oh wait. Oh, I did. It flipped. My bad. Ah,
Yeah,
I
it was that.
lost it.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, there you go.
that right there.
Yeah, I love that panel.
You can see that in his eyes where he's like,
Yeah.
I didn't have time to be
Hmm.
like that. It's like, if you look at um like a disaster movie, it plays exactly like a disaster movie to
Yeah.
where shit's breaking loose, all hell's going into a handbasket, and all he wants to do is get to his family. So it doesn't matter what's going on around him, he's going that way.
Yeah. Just tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll fight whatever in my way, but
Yeah.
I'm getting to my wife and kid.
And I like he doesn't start off as a badass. He struggles.
Yeah.
He struggles a lot.
And he does, yeah, because he has no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
So,
and a lot of time in comics, they make the main character a badass at first, and from the get go, he knows everything. They don't do that here.
No, and that's part of what I like about the plot so much is he's just as in the dark as we are about what's going on, what's doing, you know, is he going to make it? And then, you know, but he meets Morgan. Morgan gives him some pointers. He goes a little bit longer. He meets Glenn. Glenn gives him some pointers, and then he gets to his wife and kid. And then it's all about, okay, now, how do I keep protecting them? What do we do? And then, you know, he's got that whole thing with Shane that he's got to deal with.
There's one scene early on in the comic that I think the show did better. And I think it's him when he's in the staircase and he's struggling to light that match or lighter, you know, and you're like, oh my gosh, there's something's going to be there. And he keeps doing it.
Yeah.
And nothing's there, but you have anxiety waiting for something to come out of the dark at him.
Yeah.
And I just love how they did that better in the show, I thought. Okay, for plot, I'll also give it a 10. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about the plot?
No, I think I covered that. I was like, we got Tony in the house. What's up, Tony?
Oh, I don't got my chats on, man.
Put your chat on, man.
I do. My bad. How you doing, Tony? Thank you for joining us. We're talking The Walking Dead. Okay.
Comic book.
Yeah, comic book. Issues 1 through 6. The first trade paperback.
Yeah. We are comparing, of course, to the series because I'm a huge fan of the series, but I'd never read the comic before. So this is kind of, you know, of course
and he liked it. So that makes me happy.
Yeah.
And so we're going to go on to Arc. What did you give the Arc?
Okay. The arc of the characters. Now, I gave this a low score because there really, I mean, aside from him finding his family and stuff, there really isn't much of a character arc in the first few issues. It's just, okay, now we're together and they're kind of jockeying for position. Like who's, you know, Rick's, everybody's kind of gravitating to Rick to be in charge. And, you know, but of course, Shane thinks he's in charge. And, you know, other people are like, okay, so, and Rick's like, okay, we got to use guns and things like that. But they're just kind of learning to gel as a group.
Yeah.
Especially with the installation of Rick and how the dynamic has changed. So, and Hall & Oates is in. What's up, Holland?
What's up? How are you doing, man?
So yeah, so I actually gave the arc a 5 because I didn't think the arc really changed. It was just kind of like, here's where we are, and this is what we're doing. It's kind of introducing you, a little bit of background, character development, things like that, but not a whole lot of progression. You're just kind of getting used to this world and what's going on. So yeah, I went actually low for the arc.
Well, you scored a little bit lower than I did. I gave it a 6.
Okay. So that puts us at 5.5, which is fine.
Yeah. I mean, The Walking Dead, I could never read this book issue by issue. It's just, I don't have the patience for it. That's why originally I read them this way in these hardbacks. They came out once a year, and I got the first 6 volumes, and I got impatient. I was like, I can't do it. I can't wait once a year. So I went back to the trades that you have. And they came out twice a year. So I had to just do that way because there's just no way. And for the arc, it's the whole issues 1 to the final issue is one great arc.
Yeah.
Because the journey that Rick starts with Rick, and I don't want to spoil the end because we're gonna only talk about the first 6 issues. The journey he goes on, the journey that Carl goes on, the journey Shane doesn't go on.
The journey Shane stops on.
Yeah.
But
these characters are all great. And you don't see that really in first 6 issues.
I agree. I mean, and they're great right off the bat, but yeah,
Yes.
there's no growth
Yeah.
at that point. You like you said, it's a real slow arc going over the
Mhm.
course of the comic, and I could feel that right off the bat.
Okay, my question to you though, are those characters great because you watch the show and you know that those characters are going to be great? Would you be able to say those characters are great if you hadn't watched the show?
That's a good question. I think yeah, it's primarily because I know where they're going to go based on the show.
Yeah.
So I'm already reading going, "Oh, I know who Andrea is and how she grows. And I know, what happens to Dale, and I know,
Mhm.
all these other ones." And then, I find myself constantly asking where Daryl is
Yeah.
as I start reading this because Daryl's from the series, but he's not in the
Yep.
comic books. That's one major thing. That's like that has nothing to do
Yeah.
with the comic book.
And
But
Carol in here is
Carol,
way different.
yeah.
This Carol you see in the Walking Dead comic is
Mhm.
not the Carol you get in the Walking Dead TV show by any means.
Yeah.
And I will even say Andrea's character is 100 times better in this comic than she was ever be on the TV show.
Yeah.
Because I love Andrea's character in the comic. Didn't really care for her in the TV show. But yeah, I'm gonna go 6 for the art.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got.
What's up, Spicy?
Oh yeah, thank you for tuning in, Spicy. Really appreciate it. We're just talking The Walking Dead, and we're moving on to story.
Okay. Again, my favorite part of this story, I gave a 10.
Mhm.
I absolutely love the story because it's such a slow arc and it's so deliberate in what it does. You get the full character development. Everybody talks about what they were before it
Mhm.
happened. All the, you get to know a little bit about each character, including the kids, including Carl, and you're like, okay, I see how this dynamic is coming together. But
Yeah.
yeah, I really liked it. It was more um it was more like reading a novel than
Yeah.
it was reading a comic book.
Yeah. I see that.
To where you can kind of get immersed in this, I'm just going to call it a family, this family that's just formed because of this.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, how they just dealt with the stuff. And, so yeah, story of 10 for me.
Yeah.
Absolutely love
I'm right with you on that. Um, 10 for me. I think you hit everything nail on the head right there, man. Because yeah, I'm just gonna just leave it at that. You said it perfectly.
it. Yeah.
Oh man,
And
just
I think if they'd have tried to do more with the arc, I think that would have taken away from the
mhm.
story.
I really do too.
So in this particular case, I think this works better this way.
Yeah.
Even though I had to give the arc a low score, they sacrificed arc for story,
Yes.
and I'm
Agree.
totally down for it.
The the only thing that it's not even a nitpick, it's the one I guess it is, it's a tiny I would have loved to seen more at the camp when they're just a little bit more before all hell breaks loose. Just to
Yeah.
see the everyday life. Um
Yeah. I wouldn't mind it maybe have jumped. I mean, I know it's focused on Rick,
mhm.
most part, getting to the camp, but I think if they'd have switched it and I started with Rick and he was starting on his journey, that they switched to the camp
Yeah.
and then have and then you kind of see a little tidbit of Glenn, even if he's in the background with his hat,
Yeah.
and then but not mention him. Then when Rick runs into him, you're like, wait a minute, that's the dude.
Yeah.
And then he talks about who he's trying to get to, and you already know, oh well, Lori and Carl are at the camp. So I
Mhm.
see how this is gonna work. Yeah, I think that would be cool. Just have like a little, I agree. But right in the beginning, have a little thing with the camp.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea.
You introduce those guys first and then have Rick going to there and then have them come together. And I think, yeah, I think that would have been the only thing I would have changed. But I was still happy with what they did.
Yeah, me too. I do like that panel we get when they're coming back to the camp, and Rick's like, "Holy shit!" You know, the shock on his face, and
Yeah.
like, there's just no way. And then, yeah, I love that.
Real small. Holy shit! Like, I can't believe it. I can't believe I found her. I can't believe it all came together.
Yeah.
Where you know, that's where you got to say, you know what, fate or God or whatever you believe in, something was
Hmm.
up there guiding you to
Yeah.
this. And
So we're gonna get right into this again. Characters. I know what your score is on this.
yeah, so characters, I didn't go 10, but
Oh, you didn't? I figured you
no,
did.
not go 10. Really solid numbers. Like I said, there were some characters I wanted to know more about. I know they're not, you know, like Donna. I was like, okay, I wanted a little bit more on Donna. I
Yeah.
wanted a little bit more on Dale. I knew about Dale from the
Yeah.
series, but you didn't get a whole lot of Dale in the comic book. So I gave the,
Dale.
yeah,
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I gave the characters an 8.
Okay, I went 10. Okay.
Okay.
But I think I'm being judged because I know all their arcs. It's
Yeah.
hard, like it's hard for me to
Well, let's
uh
see. Yeah, you know the comic book arc
mm,
as well as
yeah,
the TV series arc, because those arcs end up being totally different.
yeah.
So,
But you said Dale.
yeah,
Dale, I'm gonna touch on Dale. The Dale in the TV show, he starts off sweet. He's a very gentle um character. He's
mhm.
not gentle. He's nice, but he's not as welcoming.
Yeah, he's more of a crotchety,
Yeah.
the crotchety
Get
old
off my
fart.
lawn, kinda.
Yeah, yeah. Instead
Mhm.
of, he's more like Otto than he than he is
Yeah.
like the Dale in the series is all, we should be nice. He's the, you know,
Mhm.
he's the moral center
Yeah.
of the group, and that's not the case in the comic book.
I I I wish we could spend a little bit more time with Shane too.
Yeah.
Um,
That was
but
another thing. I wanted more about Shane.
mhm,
You only get, oh, they're friends and Shane had an affair with
yeah,
Lori. And then he's, you know, he gets to be kind of a creeper,
yeah.
and you know, shit happens at the end. So, um yeah, I wanted more background on Shane, but I guess, you know, he's not going to last very long. So they didn't so they didn't, you know, spend much time on him.
This is another thing where I think the show did a better job
Yeah.
of developing Shane than the comic did.
Yeah.
So for me, characters a 10. I'm giving them a 10.
No problem. So we average out to a 9. No big deal.
Yeah. Ending.
Okay.
Go away.
I loved the ending,
Mhm.
except because of the series, I wanted Shane to get back up as a walker.
Right. Yes.
I I didn't want it just to end with him being dead, with Carl shooting him. That's the
Mhm.
only thing about the ending that I couldn't get. I was like, I just wanted just a little bit more before you ended that. Just
Got one
even if
pan.
it's like one panel at the end with him going, and then that's it. I would have been totally happy with. So I gave the ending a 9. I still loved it. Um, but yeah,
But
I couldn't get the full on 10 because I wanted that little extra.
Spicy says, I've literally only seen the first episode. I love this show.
Me too. I own the whole series. So
It's I encourage you. It's on Netflix. Just if you have time, watch an episode here or there. They're long episodes,
yeah.
and I see some of the
Yeah,
complaints
season
that
1
people
is
make
only
about it.
6 episodes. So
Yeah, that's true.
season 1 is only 6 episodes. So you can get through season 1 and get like the
Hmm.
gist of what's going on.
Yeah,
Um, and it doesn't take too much out of your doesn't take too much out of your life. But
for me, the ending is a 10
okay.
because I was like, holy shit. Because when I read the comic, of course, this came out way before the show.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, that was really cool. Um, but what you said about Shane getting up, maybe a little like a groan or something, that is touched upon. that will tell. That's not really a spoiler because you know you die, you come back.
Yeah,
Uh, it is
but that was
touched.
yeah.
They
I
don't
didn't
do
put that in mind. It was
no. Yeah, but I mean later on. It's not in the very next.
yeah, no, I mean, but because he takes the bullet to the throat
Yep.
and he's done. But yeah, that was the only thing. If I had the second,
Yeah.
if I had the second volume, then I would have seen that and that would have been fine. But I think that's where the first book should have ended.
Yeah. I
Um,
understand that.
is with just even if Rick and Carl didn't even see it, just like one panel right at the end, maybe the last page or something, just like where he's just kind of or his eyes are open or something.
This is the one thing that bugs me about the show and the comics
Yeah,
because the changing speed varies for whatever's going to move the story along. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
There's like, okay, we need this guy to turn now, so they turn now. They
yeah,
don't wait. Like the guy that gets bit earlier on, and he's fine for a while. He's sick, and
yeah,
then they're like, okay, he wants to go sit next to a tree.
yeah,
Okay, that took him a while. But in other instances, they turn like that.
yeah.
Now, that just one thing that bugs me.
Well, they're and of course they played it off in the series. I don't know if they do in the comic book, but they played it off in the series to like every person changes at different rates depending on their
That's
immune
true.
system or their what type of genetic they are and stuff like that. Like there was and I'm thinking it was the governor's town off the top of my head where they were doing these experiments where they were waiting for someone to die and then judging how long they took to turn, either by being bit or dying naturally or
That's true. Yeah.
getting shot or stabbed or whatever. And it was like the average was like 88 seconds or something like that, with like a natural death as opposed to being bit. If you bit, then you basically got infected and you slowly turned. Um,
See, I don't
so
remember that. That's been a long time.
I
Like some of this,
I remember that from I was like, okay, why is this happening? And I know they're doing it for the series. You got you got the suspense of slowly turning or chopping the limb off to
yeah.
see if they don't turn, and then sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Um, yeah, it depends. Yeah, it's all for the story benefit for the ratings.
Spicy says all the seasons are all the seasons. Sorry, all the seasons are decent. I've heard after 4 it goes downhill, but don't put much stock in it. Okay, this is what I say. This is what we say on the Lowdown show. All film and TV are subjective. Okay,
Yeah,
I enjoyed every season. For,
yeah,
not every season is going to be a home run, of course not. Um, but it's still good quality, character-driven story. If you're
mhm.
looking for zombie action right off every episode,
You're not going to get that.
yeah, you're not getting it.
No.
Because this is, like we said, this is character-driven.
Yeah,
I'll definitely check out season 1 if there are only 5 other episodes. Yeah,
yeah.
there's a quick episodes
It's
or a
just
quick season.
quick season, but yeah, they're a standard size, so 42 minutes without commercials.
Mhm.
And yeah, but yeah, you get 6 episodes and then it starts getting, but no season aside from the last one is longer than 16 episodes.
Yeah, it felt like it was like 800 episodes.
Yeah,
Because
it
you're
was
like,
like
okay,
it
wait
was
a minute.
24 episodes. They broke it into 3 parts.
Yeah.
So
And Holland Oak says it should be better for you because it's all out, no waiting. Yeah, I agree. You can just jump right into it.
yeah.
Yeah. So our next part of scoring this book, we're going to go into the art and the storytelling, and we're going to jump right into this with color.
Um well, there's no color really.
There's shading.
So there's
There's
shading, there's um
definition.
there's enhancement, there's enhancing what's there. But yeah, there's I don't want to, I want to say there's a gray area because it's all a gray area. Uh,
Black and white.
so there's shading and stuff, but because there's no actual color, I went with a 5 here for coloring
Me too.
because there's not it's not what this is about.
Yeah.
It could be like, and I think this allows them to get gorier
Yeah.
with, because they're not showing the red. They're not showing the blood. They're not showing the viscera. It's, but you can see like intestines coming out and things like that.
And they're
Um,
detailed.
and the detail and the blood splatter and the stuff on the face melting away and things like that. And I think they can do that much detail because they're not coloring it. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad thing, but yeah, I went 5 for the color.
I'm going to tell you, I went 5 too. They recently re-released, I forget what issue they're up to, if they even are still doing it. They started with issue 1 in color. I seen it. I did not like it. I didn't like it colored. I like it black and white. That's just for me.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we both went 5 for color. Now, art. Tony Moore is art in this book.
I love the detail here on the artwork. And you touched on it earlier with facial expressions and their, you could see their emotions in the artwork. And you don't get that too much in a comic book. So I went 9. I thought it was great. I gave the art a 9.
I went 10. I went 10 for this. I don't know if it's just because I'm a fan of Tony Moore. I dig his style. He did some work at Marvel after he did this. It wasn't as good as The Walking Dead. Because I don't understand why though. I don't know if it was the coloring. I don't know if it was the mainstream characters he drew. But his art, and it's sad that they had a falling out. And because I would have loved to see him continue. I like the guy that took over for him. He does a great job too. But I wish he would have stuck around. And I think there was even lawsuits for the TV show with him. Was you going to show something?
Well, yeah, just kind of. This is the very last page.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's very beautiful.
It's so well done, and I think my favorite thing about it, because it's not a superhero comic, nobody's disproportional. Everything is, nobody's too thin or
Right.
too fat.
Let me
Nobody's too muscular. Everybody's got normal features, but just the attention to detail in the artwork and the shading is really, really awesome.
I'm going to show you something, see if you notice it right away from another guy's. I'm trying to find a clearer page here.
From the other
Yeah.
artist?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is just a group of panels. Let me see if you can notice. Do you see the difference? Oh shit, hold on. Oh, damn it. Do you see how he relies a lot on the heavy blacks?
Yeah. It's it's a lot more inked. Yeah, it's really dark.
Yeah. That's the way the rest of the book continues.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay. It is not as detailed as Tony Moore.
No. Yeah, because with what you get from Tony Moore.
Yeah. Compare that to what I just showed you.
It's more, Tony Moore, it's more like a sketch, like like it's a dream that you're watching. As opposed to this. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So, like I think I said 10, right, for art?
Yeah, you'd say 10.
Okay, now layout.
Oh, the layout for me was a 10.
Me too.
Gosh, the layout is so good. It's basic. It flows well. It doesn't take you on some weird crap that it makes you do. Yeah. Whether it's, whether you got, like I said, you got, you got symmetrical. That's what because you got the larger panel, 4 smaller panels, and then a larger panel at the bottom. Or you've got, on this side, you've got six small panels and 1 larger one on top, and then 6 on the top and 1 larger one on the bottom. And it just, I dig it. I think the layout, is just about perfect.
Yeah, it's simple, and you said perfect. It's not distracting. The art, the word balloons are put in perfectly,
Yeah.
They're not confusing. Okay, where does your eye want to go? Your eye naturally follows the panels. Um, yeah, like like he said, you get that one big panel. I'd just
Yeah.
leave it a splash page. I would not even call it a splash page, but you got that iconic
Yeah.
scene, and then how look at Rick there. He's like, oh
Yeah.
shit. Yeah, and then the motion in the eye. That one panel focused in of the horror in his eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. The way these first 6 issues are laid out, perfect. So,
Yeah. Really well done.
10. Okay, now we're going to the writing.
Okay. Again, I gave a 10 for the writing on this, because all of that with the plot and the story and the way that the writing is done, I absolutely loved it. Again, with the speech bubbles, and with how they're talking, especially when the font goes smaller, you can tell that they're whispering or they're talking soft.
Mhm.
Just again, basic, perfect, normal human, you know, communication, things like that goes along with the layout. I think it's really well done, and I gave the writing a 10.
Me too. 10. Robert Kirkman knocks it out of the park.
Yeah.
Before he did this, he did a little work at Marvel. Has somewhat of a success, but then he went creator owned and then knocked it out of the park with this. He continues to knock it out of the park with this book until the very last issue. I know some people are angry with the very last issue of this series. I have yet to read the last. I am 2 trades behind. So, yeah, this Robert Kirkman tells Rick's story. He somewhat starts to tell Carl's story a little bit. He makes these people feel like real people. As you get on, well, I know we're talking about the first 6 issues, but when he introduces you to these other characters, you like them right away, or you hate them right away, like you're supposed to. There's no, okay, I might hate this character. No, you hate this character from the get. His writing's that good. He gets the point across really well. And he went on to. Are you familiar with Invincible?
I haven't read it or seen it, but yeah.
Okay,
I'm
well, he wrote. Yeah, another successful book he put out is The Invincible. It's an Amazon TV animated show, which is fantastic. But yeah, 10 for me.
Yeah,
we're gonna go straight to cover.
Yeah.
And now I gotta flip to the back of the book for mine.
Yeah. So, I mean, really, for a cover, I don't have much in here because it
You don't put the
seemed
covers in the back?
no.
Okay.
What I got in the back is like Birthright and
Oh,
Outlast and stuff like that.
Outcast is so good. That's right up your alley.
So yeah, I didn't get any covers.
Okay,
So
I'll show you.
all I had to go by is this.
Okay. That's justifiable, yeah.
So I gave it a 7. I still think it's good, solid, but because I didn't have the covers for everything else, I was like, oh well, I can't go any higher.
All right, so that is cover. I don't know if you can see. It's hard to see from. These are the actual comic book covers.
Okay.
Because they're in color.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's it. I'm gonna go an 8 on the covers because I know when you see a comic on the shelves, you're drawn to the cover.
Yes.
But once word got out about Walking Dead, you could have put a potato on the cover. They were buying this book, no matter what the cover was. So, yeah, I don't think the covers matter.
It could have been me, just like,
yeah, you could have been double horns or unicorn.
Double horns would be like, oh, it's Walking Dead, I'm getting it.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise the cover is what first draws you in.
Mm-hmm.
And you
that
go,
first cover.
Oh, I want to.
I mean, it's a nice first cover. This is the first issue number 1. Rick standing in front of what looks like a looted store. Yeah. It's a nice cover.
Yeah.
But I don't think if I saw it on the stand, I wouldn't go to it. It wouldn't have drawn me in.
Yeah. No, me neither. And that, like, if I hadn't have known about the series, if I'd have just looked at this, I would have
Yeah,
went, okay, zombies. All right. I might, I might take a look at it.
yeah,
But yeah, no, it would have been the series drew me to it. So I
yeah.
was really excited having been a fan of the series, and I liked start to finish. I liked all of it
Me too.
in the series. I mean, yeah, there were some groaner moments
Yeah, it's
and
kind of
some
a perfect
episodes that
series.
didn't really pan out, but I love the risks that they took. They
Hmm.
did some crazy stuff. And but that was the reason why I was excited to read the comic book was because of the series.
That makes me happy because, you know, some people didn't know this was a comic book series.
Yeah.
The thing that bugs me about it, I don't know if they did it in later seasons because I stopped paying attention, but they always said the graphic novel, based on the graphic novel. I
Yeah.
hated that. It's
Yeah.
a comic book.
Yeah.
But it's based on the comic book. I don't
Yeah.
know why it bugs me, but it bugs me. Yeah. So what was our final score?
Our final score for The Walking Dead was 86.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Better than our movies we did last week or this
Yeah.
yesterday.
Better than all of them.
Yeah.
And all the movies from last week.
Yeah.
And also better than any other comic book we've scored so
Yeah.
far.
I think this has been the best one so far.
Yeah, this has been my favorite so far.
Me too.
I mean,
It's been a
I
long
absolutely love Annihilators,
time.
but no, this was a genuine pleasure to read. I really liked it.
Yeah, I highly encourage you to get volume two. Maybe down the road we talk volume two. I would love to pick your brain about it, see
Yeah.
where it goes. But anything else you want to say about The Walking Dead?
No, it was really cool. I enjoyed having this, and I'm really glad I bought the actual physical comic book.
Me too.
And I probably will go on to volume 2 and
I highly encourage you to do it.
continue reading those. And uh yeah, I would I'd read this entire series for sure.
Yeah, I want you to. I want you to continue reading this. You don't have to read it all at once because there's a lot of volumes.
Yeah.
I'm
Well, yeah,
interested
I
to
don't have that much money.
I'm interested to take the how we said it earlier, the difference between the TV show characters and the comic book characters.
Mhm.
Because there's one of my favorite characters in here. I forget his name. He's the prison guy. Um, I know you know who I'm talking about. He had the hammer.
Yeah. Are you talking about T-Bone or
No.
no? I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Um
He's a bigger guy, bigger black dude.
yeah.
Um, but the TV show, I did not like him on the TV show. But man, when he's introduced in here, I absolutely love him. He's one of my favorite characters in here. Um, and just like the TV show, characters ain't safe in this series. Just because you think one character is the main character or an important side character, they're not safe. I mean,
Yeah.
they can be picked off
His
at any
name was
time.
Tyrese.
What?
His name was Tyrese.
Tyrese. Yeah, I really liked his character.
Yeah. I did
Um,
too. So I thought you were talking about T-Bone, which is the other guy,
you know,
the former gangbanger dude that did all the
yeah.
stuff. I didn't really care for him in the series at all. I did like Tyrese in the series, especially as he developed. When he first started, he seemed kind of a pushover.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you're a big dude. Why are you like, oh, we'll do whatever you say? I was like, gotta be a little bit harder
Yeah,
than that.
yeah.
Um,
He's a badass in the comic. That's why I didn't like him when they introduced him in the TV show. It's because
yeah,
he was nothing like. Yeah, he was that character. He was that character only in name because he didn't come across as what he did.
yeah,
In the comic. And like you said, there's no Daryl. I can't wait for you to get to what's his name? My mind's going blank again. You got the governor coming up.
yeah.
He's better in the comic than anything you saw on the TV show. Because of course they can do more.
I am really anxious to read about Michonne. That would be
yeah,
because
they did pretty good.
she's my favorite character in the series.
Yeah, she's
So
bad.
I would love to see her on the comic book level and how
She
she is.
they get her character pretty much. They nail it in the TV show for the most part. Uh,
That's good.
what is they had this bat's name? What was the guy? Negan. Sorry.
Yeah.
I can't wait for you to get to Negan because Jeffrey D. Morgan does a great job at Negan, but what it's on network TV or cable network TV, you can only get away with so much.
Mm-hmm.
And take Jeffrey D. Morgan times it by 100, and you get the real Negan. So yeah.
Another one is Abraham.
Oh, I like Abraham too.
Yeah, Abraham Ford. He was one of my favorite characters from the series too.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Holland says Negan's his favorite.
Yeah. Was this the first comic a season or just an episode or a few?
That's interesting because it's stretched out. This is probably a few episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are pieces that are actually brought in later.
Yeah. They don't go linear. They don't go from
they don't go linear with the comic book because the ending of this comic book, which is Shane's death.
This is season 3, isn't it?
That happens in like season 3.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't because it happens in the first.
Yeah. So it's not. So yeah. So the timelines are completely different. There are elements that are the same, but I would say for the most part, this is like the first 2 or 3 episodes, and then there are things that happen that actually they don't put in until later in the series.
Yeah. And I like that they did that because, like I said earlier, you get more of Shane. You get to see his character build. And
you get to see him go psychotic, shaves his head.
But there's at one point he seems redeemable.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh wait, no, he's not.
He's not. It's like, oh, maybe he's gonna be bad. Rick's gonna have to kill him. But it surprised me that Carl was the one that did it.
Mm-hmm.
And
imagine turning the page, you're like, oh shit.
I was like, oh, but I mean, I already knew it.
Yeah.
I already knew that it was gonna happen. Yeah. But I was like, oh, you didn't get the payoff with understanding that everybody's infected.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. That was the whole thing. That was a beautiful plot twist that I didn't expect because I haven't read the series. I didn't read the comic book.
Mm-hmm.
Heading that in the series, it wasn't like it doesn't happen if you get bit. It's not just from that. It's not just if you get, hit by a walker, but if you die any other way, you still become a walker. So,
and then that line where Carl goes, "It's not like killing the dead ones," or something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I like that a lot. That goes back to Robert Kirkman's writing. So we gave this issue or this first volume of Walking Dead a really good score. You said 86, right?
86, yeah.
86. We highly recommend the TV show and the comic because they go hand in hand. I think you could be a fan of the TV show and then enjoy the comic just as much. Because it is the source material. Don't ever forget that. If it wasn't for the comic, there would be no Walking Dead. There would be no MCU. There would be no DCU. Just remember, we're all these comic book characters you love. Somebody created them a long time ago, or not too long ago, and they're in the form of comic books. So, what do you have coming up?
Well, so we've got our show By the Numbers, which we take a look at new releases and we give them the lowdown treatment, much like we did here with The Walking Dead. And that airs Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 Central, 9 Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
This coming episode, we're going to be looking at Plane, A Man Called Otto, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Run, Sweetheart, Run, and The Visitor.
Nice.
So those will be fun to talk about.
Yeah.
On Sunday nights, I am a part of Spirits with Spirits, which is a live stream that we do where we drink alcohol and we talk about the paranormal. So it's a lot of fun. And coming up this Sunday is going to be our Cryptids Part 5. We're going to talk about the Moss Man, Hugging Molly, and the Rougarou.
Nice.
And score those. They get the lowdown treatment too, to see how vicious they are, how much evidence they have of them and stuff like that. So we score those as well as haunted locations. So
basically you two were like Sam and Dean, which is because they made all three of those were episodes of Supernatural.
Yeah. That's kind of, I mean, if you look at what Sam and Dean did on Supernatural is what they took on cryptids.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing is we're actually studying them, getting all the research, scoring them. We did stuff on the Baba Yaga, and we haven't done Bigfoot yet. We're saving that one for last.
Oh, I can't wait for that episode because that's my
but yeah, we're gonna talk about Bigfoot and of course Loch Ness Monster and all the major ones, but we're doing all these other ones
because there's more than just a handful of them.
There's so many. There's literally hundreds of cryptids.
People have been seeing weird shit since human history.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you got any unboxings coming? That you have coming?
Yeah, I'm gonna do an unboxing tonight. In fact, I don't have any more packages coming in, so I've got one package to open tonight, and I did a town hall where I go to town and I haul in some movies. So I've got 3 more movies to watch. So yeah, I'll probably record that tonight and drop it down tonight or tomorrow morning.
Awesome. For me, next week I'll be dropping another episode of We're Gonna Need a Bigger Boat with my daughter Malia. We look at shark movies because there's a lot of shark movies. We both love shark movies. I'll let her pick the first 2 movies, and so it's my turn to pick a couple. So I'm going to drop an episode of that next week, probably on Tuesday. But then Thursday at 8 Central, issue 7 of Comic Talk, we'll be having Mel from My Killer Podcast on. I know everybody knows her from being a physical media person, but she's into comics. And she was willing to come on the show and answer some questions about her love of comic books. So that'll be on my channel, issue 7 of Comic Talk on the 30th. I think it's the 30th, right? I'm terrible at dates.
30th, that's next Thursday, yeah.
Yeah, next Thursday, 30th. My Killer Podcast will be on talking comic books. We'll be here at 8 Central Standard Time, and I don't know what the other time zones are because I suck. But Dave always says blah 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 blah. Okay, what time is that? Yeah. He goes 8 o'clock your time. That's it. Thank you. But that's it for me, man. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Thank you for taking the time, an hour out of your night, spend it with us, talking The Walking Dead, talking comic books, 2 knuckleheads. That's it. Yeah, Faces for Radio. I like that. That's what we should call ourselves.
That should be our show. Faces for
Radio. Yeah. So with that said, guys, thank you for watching. God bless everyone. Have a good night.
Be safe, everybody.